What is up, Axiie fam? This video is just as the title says, so I don't want to waste a single second of your time. Let's get going. As you know, from my last video, I was looking for good axies that you guys could start breeding right now and wouldn't devaluate too much if the nerfs were too big. And I found two of those axies that I want to share with you guys. The first one I want to share you guys is this beautiful Bumpy Nemo Bonsai on Zigzag. And I know that in the last video I told you guys that Nemo was probably gonna get nerfed. And I agree, you know, I think they could take maybe 10-15 damage out of Tails Lab, but I think the thing with Nemo is that it's really hard to nerf this card because, I mean, they're not gonna make this as the Beast card, the Cottontail, right? Where it's only 0 damage and you get an energy, because Beasts just already do too much damage. The only thing they can do here is take a little bit out of the damage away, but they have to keep some damage. And they can't, like, give you half an energy or something like that because it's just one. All of that to say, I think this axe is top tier. If you actually look at the marketplace here, the floor starts at 0.28 when it's 5 breed, but a 0 breed can go super high. Obviously, these axes are not incredibly fast to sell. You will be able to start selling the 0 breeds just because they'll, you know, they'll definitely get into people's radars. I just love the skill set. I think, like, when you look at the amount of shield that you get off these cards with the lifesteal on top of it and the 0 Nemo energy card, I think this is amazing. And the second axe I want to show you guys is actually this one. This one is kind of a weird guy. When you look at the skill set, it's super diverse, right? You have 4 different types of cards here. You have a plant, a beast, a reptile, and a bug one. I don't know. I think this axe is also incredibly strong. And this axe, by the way, is even less popular, all right? If you actually look at all of the axes, there's only 8 available in the whole market, provided these cards don't get nerfed too much. And I think the only card that might get heavily nerfed is Biden's. You know, maybe they'll take 20 shield out of this. But, I mean, removing the debuffs is still going to be super strong. And everything else here is amazing. Like, Axiie, to this day, like, Elijah has been talking about this card for 5 months, and I still feel like it's underutilized. In an Axiie like a Dusk, I just feel like you get a lot out of everything here. So everything, like, this video actually came out because I wanted to breed this Axiie, all right? And if you go to the marketplace, let's say you try and look for the whole skill set, right? You want the whole skill set and you want this to be 0 breed. Well, you would have to pay 0.6, then 0.8 for the parents, which is a decent chunk of money, right? It is 1.4 of Ethereum. I can actually use my bot here and check whether it is profitable to buy these axes and try to breed. Let's see what happens. Let's see what the bot has to say about trying this out. Surprisingly, this is actually profitable according to the bot. Okay, you can see that this is one of those rare axes where breeding more times actually gives you more money, just because the skill set itself is really good and you have such a high chance of getting Zigzag Bumpy Bonsai Nemo. Now, one thing that kind of gets me scared with something like this is that it is a super, I mean, unless you're very rich, this is a pretty hefty endeavor, right? If you look at this, you're paying about $6,000 only for the parents, and then you have to buy AXS and SLP for the whole thing, which means you're gonna spend almost $9,000 to try and get these axes, which, you know, with a pretty decent chance of getting those. But not everyone has $9,000 to spare, especially before a patch, which is, you know, even though I think this is still, I mean, obviously this is not financial advice, I think this is still going to be profitable post patch, because I don't think most of the cards here are super likely to be nerfed besides Nemo. It's still a lot of money. So what is the feature we designed? Well, it's a feature that looks for those nooks and crannies that are very hard to find. What if you try and get a 3 breed axiie with a 1 breed axiie, and that 1 breed axiie only has the genes of the cards that you want in R1 and R2, right? This is really hard to find. Even if you use a website that has R1 and R2 filters, it's still like you need to go for a combination of all of those skills in R1 and R2, and then you have to make calculations. But our bot does that in 1 click. All right, you just put I want this skill set with these stats, and it will give you options. And I'm gonna show you the options for breeding the axies that we want. Okay, so Alright, so this is the first one, okay? So as you can see, it is a zigzag bonesail bumpy koi, so the only card missing here is Nemo, but it has decent zigzag genes, it has decent bonesail genes, and it is a tree breed. So something that, you know, that's a very awkward combination to find. And on the other side, we have the 019 axiie here, that has, you know, decent zigzag. It's actually zigzag on R2, bumpy bonesail with double Nemo. So let's see what our breeding bot has to say about it. I mean, there we go. This is pretty much almost the same gains, right? You actually have more percentage gains with this one than the other one. And the thing is, it is just much cheaper to do this. It's actually 3 times cheaper in comparison. Obviously, guys, this is not financial advice. These axies might be a little bit hard to sell just because they're still new. I am very interested in them. I think I will make more videos about these axies. You know, this is just a suggestion, and I'm just really happy that, you know, in a couple of weeks, small and medium breeders are gonna be able to like make amazing axies for much cheaper, just because it's gonna be easier to find those like very odd axies. And I don't know, to me this is just very exciting. Now I want to show you guys another combination of the same. So this one is actually a more expensive endeavor, but compared to the other one, it's still like half the money, because you're gonna pay, you know, about 0.7, 0.8, which is half of how much money you had to use on that other one. And let's see if there are profits to be made with these two axies. What's actually surprising about this is that the percentage of getting the build that we want, the zigzag bumpy bonesail Nemo, is higher in this than it was actually buying the zero breed axies. Alright, so they actually have better R1 and R2 genes, and that's something that our bot was able to find, because a lot of times, like when you're trying to breed something, it's kinda hard or odd to look for 3, 2, and 4 breed axies, right? They're kinda there. You expect them to just be PvP axies, but in this case, the bot was like, for the price these guys are and the like how good the genes on these axies are, it might be a decent shot to try it out. And you know, if you have a decent amount of money, this could be a good investment. This is not financial advice, once again. And now let's go back to that other build I talked about. Alright, so for starters, this is the type of axie that even if you wanted to breed with zero breeds, you wouldn't be able to find anyone, because there's only a 3 and a 4 breed available in the marketplace. So these ones are really hard, okay? You could maybe just buy these two and see what happens, but they're already like 0.38 for a 4 breed axiie is like really expensive, super risky. And basically what the bot is able to do is find good fits for, you know, maybe none of the axies that are shown here, or a combination of an axie that is here, but something else. So this is what he did actually here. So it's a, this is the cheapest one, right? The 0.183. And the combination of this one that is priced, you know, relatively cheap. And I want to see what the breeding calculator has to say about this. All right, so there we go. I guess like the cool thing about the suggestion of the bot here is that even though you can get axiie keys inside Incisor by the Stormy Caterpillar, the other options are also relatively profitable. So you can still make money out of the axies that are not what you want. And once again, a type of axie that actually increases in profitability the more you breed. I guess it does drop off at 3 here, but it's still pretty high with the 4 breed. And I guess one thing to talk about when it comes to this, I think this axie here is even more rare than the other one that I showed, the bumpy one. So this might take a while to sell, and I'm not telling you to go breed these guys. One thing people disregard a lot is that once a type of axiie gets just too common, it becomes too cheap. And I think this is a problem with farming in general, unless you're farming plants. And that's because actually Sky Mavis, they never nerf plants or aquas as much as I think they should have. So aquas and plants, they can kind of keep a stable price. But look at this Reddit post I was reading the other day. So why Tri-Spike Dusks are cheaper than Tri-Spike Reptiles, even though, you know, they're usually almost the same HP and faster. And you know why, in my opinion? Because like the Dusks, they were much more expensive. I paid 0.35 in my Dusk Terminator when it was like a novelty, and now it costs 0.04. So I lost like 8x in that axiie. And it's basically rarity. And when you commit to a farm of whatever axiie you have, eventually, unless it's like an axiie that everyone will have to use forever, like a plant, at least for now, until it gets nerfed or changed, it just makes sense, right, to keep breeding, because there's infinite demand for those axies. It doesn't happen with something like Terminator, Reptile, or Dusk. You know, eventually, Terminator, Reptile, Dusk become too not profitable at all. Then you have to go to Dusks and you breed them for a long time, and then the market gets flooded, and you just need to be able to exit your farms. And I think a lot of people feel like Axie is just this place where you create a farm and you infinitely breed forever, and that's it. And I don't think that's how it works. What my point to all of that is, something like this could become super profitable in 2 months, in the sense that, like, if this doesn't get nerfed, more players start seeing this as good. You know, the demand could grow, and if you're the first one to breed, you might have a huge jumpstart to everyone. Or it could just become kind of a niche axiie that not a lot of people buy, and you make some money or you lose money. This is why this is not financial advice, but I think this is like the sort of mindset I want to show to everyone, because I feel like a lot of the axiie content creators, I'm not sure they just want to appeal to more people, and so they don't really go to the nitty-gritty of stuff. But I think it's really unfair and maybe even malicious to not talk about these things, because it can actually make people lose money. And alright, I know that like everyone that joins Axie in general should be wary and like should know that they might lose everything they put here. But yeah, hopefully you guys understood what I'm talking about. Hopefully you will be able to, you know, make some money with these suggestions that I made. Finally, actually, yeah, I promised 2 combinations of this one, so let's get the last one here. So this is one that I found, alright? It has Incisor Perfect, it has Axies, it has Perfect Thorny Caterpillar, but yeah, it has Mint, which is not ideal. And then it's also that same axiie that we talked about, so looks like this one is very detrimental just because it already has all of this, all of the skill set. This one is a little bit more expensive though, so I think it's not gonna be as profitable. I just wonder what the bot's gonna say about this one. Yeah, I guess it's kind of similar to that one. Still decent chance of getting the axiie that we want. Alright, so yeah, this is it guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed what our bot will be able to do in the future, I really suggest you guys to join our Discord server. You know, just so you know when we actually release this feature. You can also use all of the other features like the breeding calculator that we have here. I think this by itself is already pretty revolutionary in comparison to everything available in the market. We also have our own rolling decks where you can exchange funds, and yeah, like our body is pretty cool, and I'm just really proud of it. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good one, guys.